and welcome to Q&A Saturday. I'm so glad to have you with me, and today my question comes from Yul, who's in the Netherlands, and she writes, Dear Alison, I'm reading your updates with great pleasure. You come across as such a light-hearted person, and that is the reason I turn to you for advice if you have time for me. Of course I do, and thank you for the compliment. As a child, I was very happy getting coloured pencils for my birthday, and I remember drawing a lot. However, I seem to have developed a fear of drawing. I would like to get it out of the way, and I pretend that I'm doing that by reading your blogs and by looking at lots of how-tos on Pinterest. But of course, reading and watching is not going to get me very far. It's the doing that counts. And there's my problem. I just can't seem to get past my hesitation. Where do I begin? What am I going to draw? And why am I doing this anyway? Because I'm a perfectionist who likes to get things right the first time and put something up on the wall so that I can convince myself I'm not doing it for nothing. What do you think? How do I get past this fear? And how am I going to be sure that drawing will actually be something that I like? And it's just the perfectionist which is standing in my way. This is such a great question. I work almost entirely with adults, and I'd say 99% of them have a fear of drawing. And it's just because they gave it up so very long ago when they started to learn to read and write. I have 3 things that I want to share with you today, which will help you overcome this fear of drawing and get you going, because I can tell you that you are going to love it. The first thing that you need to do is to overcome that fear of perfection. You need to throw the idea of perfection right out the window. And the way we're going to do that is by working with extremely rough circles. So pick up those colourful pencils that you love so much and draw yourself at least one page of these very rough, colourful circles, very similar to what you see that I have drawn here. This is just to get you into the groove of making a mark on paper so that you can absolutely enjoy coming up with colourful, amazing things that don't have to be perfect because you can't draw a circle wrong. Sketch them over and over and over again and just warm yourself up to the idea of trying something new. Once you've done a whole page of those rough, wonderful, colourful circles and you're feeling thoroughly warmed up and you've got a smile on your face, it's time to move on to rearranging some things into patterns. The human mind loves a pattern, and faces at the end of the day are just a series of circles, ovals, and dots and lines, all rearranged in different ways to come up with patterns. So take another clean page, pick up your pencils again, whatever colour you want, and start fiddling around like I've done here. Because all you need to do is to get your faces going with big circles, lovely big round eyes, as you have here, big round eyes, tiny dots for eyes, little noses, big noses, almost no nose at all, smiling mouths, V-shaped mouths, rather strange and undecided looking mouths, and whatever you can do. Just start to rearrange your circles, ovals, lines, and different kinds of arcs to create faces and see how many you can come up with. You'll be amazed at how the tiniest little change can create a completely different look or expression on a face. Once you've warmed up doing circles and faces, it's time to get into the real thing. Copying simple animals that you find online, and I've chosen Simon's cat as the one that I'm going to use today. Now this is using the method which is outlined for my special bonus that I give to my newsletter subscribers, so do make sure that you've watched those videos or go back to them after you've watched this one. The first thing you want to do is to start to trace, but you're going to trace the very largest sections of the cat because what you're looking for here is proportions. So here we go, tracing his proportions like this. So that's his haunch. Then if we look at this, we can use a big circle to just define the proportion of his head and ears. Then we're going to use a long ovally shape to outline the edge of his body and that paw, and another long oval shape to outline his tail. Of course, we can then fill in his eyes. 1 and 2, not quite touching the edges of his face. And we've got his mouth there. So what are we going to do with this? Well, you can see that we can now go in. I'm going to change color quickly. And you can see how we can fill in the details. So we've got his haunch like this. Just a moment, let's go to here now. We've got his haunch here. We've got the side of his head going up that circle, and his ears like a rather lopsided M. Then at the bottom of that circle we come down here to the bottom of this oval. We fill in his tail. We put in these little strange bits for his paws and toes. And there we can fill this in. Again, put in his eyes. And his nose and mouth. And there we have him. Looks pretty good. And the final thing that we need to do then is to see how well we've observed. So we are going to now copy. So I'll bring back up our tracing, and we're going to copy these circles for ourselves. So here I go, copying first this circle. So here we go, copying it. Very rough, overly circle. Then we want to get this one, which just touches on the corner here. So there, it just touches on there, and it's a pretty large circle. Remember, we're working really roughly because we're letting go of the fear of not having it perfect. Then here, just overlapping, we've got this oval at some sort of an angle. So here, just overlapping at a bit of an angle, working very roughly. We're not worried about whether it's perfect or not. Then we've got this oval. So we'll go and fill that in. Oops, a bit too short and fat, so let's make it longer. And then having got to there, we've got the eyes. Fill them in like this. A little nose and mouth, eyeballs. Let me see how his ears would go. So now it's a matter of going and doing the color again on top. Let's have a look. We've got the side of his head coming down here, and then his body. You can still correct at this point, you see, if we see that we haven't gone out far enough. Let's do that. Then we've got his ear, which goes like this, and down, and up, and round. Then we've got the side of his body coming in like this. And we've got his tail going out to the side. And now we're going to fill in those little bits of his paws. 1, 2, 3, and up. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, and up. And we've got this, 1, 2, 3. Now we need to fill in his eyes. I didn't make them quite big enough, so I'm going to make them bigger now when I come in. And there we have eyeballs and his face. Let's go and take out, oh my goodness, I've drawn all on one. But as you can see, we've got a fairly good copy there. This is the tracing, and this is then recreating Simon's cat again by just copying the circles and then filling in the outlines. And that is a very simple way to start training your eye so that you can get past the fear of perfection, work extremely roughly, and still manage to draw for yourself. Well, that's enough from me for now. It's your turn. Grab those colored pencils and get to drawing. Throw the fear of perfection out of the window and let me know how you get on. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and share it with all your friends. And of course, if you'd like more updates, which I share on email as well, head on over to my website, www.alisonbeer.com and sign up for email updates. You'll get a free video lesson there as well, and I look forward to hearing from you if you have any frustrations or problems or anything delightful to report. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Q&A Saturday.